Hello and welcome back, everyone. So today I am bringing you guys a list of 6 manga that I believe are great reads for October that are not by Junji Ito. I understand he is a prolific author in the manga world, but don't hate me for this. I personally think Ito is a much better artist than he is storyteller. So with that said, I just wanted to put together a list of manga that have like that spooky horror vibe to it that I feel would be a good fit for October. This is also to kind of show you guys the kind of stories that I am drawn to when it comes to this genre of manga. Up first on this list is Witches by Daisuke Igarashi. This is the complete collection, all in one bind up, and it is a collection of short stories that eventually all end up interconnecting. And it is a story that follows witches and witchcraft globally as well as into space. I think the art is very pretty in it. The story, it was a little confusing the first time I read it, but when I read it again the second time, I started to understand it a bit more. And thankfully, since it's just one volume, it's pretty easy to just reread it multiple times. But I think it was very interesting, well done. I like the art style that's involved in it, and I'm personally a big fan of witches and witchcraft stories, so that's why I picked this one to start out this list. Next up, I have Night of the Living Cat. The story is by Hawkman and the art is by Mecha Roots. I have 2 volumes. I want to say there's like 4, maybe 5 volumes out by now, but I'm a little behind on my volume shopping. But this is more of a horror with comedic vibes, so if that's your kind of thing, this would be a good pick for you. Also, if you like kitty cats. But basically, the premises of this story is a post-apocalyptic world. There is a disease that is going around where if you come into contact with a cat, you will turn into a cat, and then you become super violent. So you end up following a little ragtag group of people who have managed to survive up to this point, and they are fighting their inner turmoil of trying to avoid touching these cats, but also wanting to pet the kitties. And like I said earlier, it's got some comedic vibes to it. It pokes a lot of fun at some very common manga tropes that appear throughout different manga genres and everything, which I think is definitely pretty hilarious when you spot them. There is an overarching story that I can already see by volume 2 that it is hinting at that there is something that has actually triggered this, and hopefully eventually it will get revealed. Like I said, I'm behind, but definitely worth checking out if you want something a bit more comedic, intermingled with some horror elements. The Walking Cat, story and art by Tomo Kitioka. A cat's eye view of the zombie apocalypse. This is a very big favorite of mine. If you haven't noticed, I love cat manga. I have a soft spot. As someone who's allergic to kitty cats, I have to find joy in them some other way, okay? But with this one, it's exactly as the little subtitle here says, is you follow a cat going through and living through a zombie apocalypse. And what's nice is it's mostly done through the cat's POV, and you get to see this cat go from fighting off zombies, being saved by humans, and then moving from one human group to another human group to another group. And you get to see those humans' stories unfold through the cat's eyes, basically, as a side story kind of thing. Not really a side story kind of thing, but a secondary part of the story. And it's such an interesting and unique take. I am not a big zombie person, but I really enjoyed this one just because it was something just new and different, and it's got those horror elements. Like I said, there's zombies in it, so there is death, killing, stuff like that. But ultimately, if you want something different and unique in your horror aspect, this is the one to check out. And it's the complete bind up There's only one volume. Everything is here. I actually really appreciate that sometimes. I do wish it was hardcover though, because it would be easier to read. But definitely worth checking out. Next up on this list, and it would not be complete if I didn't include my girl Q Hayashida. Now, I could have put Dorohedoro on this list, but you know what? I talk about that one a lot on this channel, so I decided to shake it up a little bit and show you guys Dark, her newest series that she is currently working on. It's currently being serialized in Japan, so it's being volumized, obviously, out here in the US because we don't do serials. But this is just classic Hayashida, okay? In Dark, we follow Sanko, who is essentially cursed, and this curse involves his bones apparently being made of magic of some sort that can grant the wish of any person who gets a hold of them. And that includes being the ruler of the universe. And Sanko is spending his days avoiding trying to be murdered on a regular basis, while also trying to hunt down the person who cursed him to live this way. The story takes place in space, which I think is a nice little twist. It has a wonderful, wonderful cast of characters. Like, it's so hard to hate any of Hayashida's characters because her character work is just phenomenal in my opinion. The art also fantastic. I've showed many panels of her art, but you can kind of get the vibe here from the covers. It's very detailed, very, very grungy and gritty. There is lots of gore, so if that is a big thing for you, you might have some issues. I am a volume behind. It might actually be 2 volumes behind at this point, but I believe it's just 1. But definitely worth checking out. And then if you end up liking this one, grab Dorohedoro, because you will not be disappointed. It also fits perfectly for the October horror vibes, just so you know. Now, these next 2 I don't actually physically own, so I'll provide a picture for you guys, but this list would not be complete without a vampire recommendation. That's right. You can't go through October without having a vampire recommendation. And for this one, I chose Hellsing by Kota Hirano. In this book, we follow Alucard, who works for the Hellsing organization. They are a secret organization that is fighting monsters. Monsters, demons, all those kind of things. And Alucard, who is a vampire, is also taking part in fighting these monsters, demons, and other vampires. Yes. Things do kind of take a slight bit of a turn when a rival organization that has been put together by the Vatican comes into play. Now, I will be 100% transparent with you guys. I have not actually read this manga, but I have watched both animes that they produced. And from what I know, the more recent one follows the manga a bit more closely as opposed to the original that was done earlier. I personally thought both of them were really good, just in different ways. So at some point, I do want to read Hellsing, but just so you know, there is an anime option if you want to go that route. And rounding out as the last book on this list is Parasite by Hitoshi Iwaki. This is another one where I have not read it, but I've watched the anime and I really, really enjoyed the anime. And so the premise of this manga is there is these flesh-eating aliens that come from space and infiltrate Earth, and upon eating the flesh of humans, they can turn themselves into anything. Winged demons, monsters, all that kind of stuff. But instead, they choose to take on the appearance of humans so that they can hide in plain sight. Shin is our main character who has been infected by one of these alien parasites. It manifests through his hand, and you pretty much just follow his life of trying to keep control of his body while also dealing with the fact that he is now surrounded by these alien parasites. It gets really dark. It gets a little gruesome at times. like I said, I haven't read the manga. I've heard the ending is pretty divisive on whether you like it or not. I watched the anime. I enjoyed it. I do have plans to read the manga at some point. Just haven't gotten around to it yet. Plus, I don't own it yet. It's one of my ones that I really do want to own, though. It's definitely one that I do recommend if you're looking for something that's like a little bit different. It's aliens. If you like some aliens in your horror, some flesh-eating bacteria. So yeah, that is everything that I have for this list. I know it's pretty small. It's just six mangas. Again, just these are my personal opinions. These are the type of, I guess, horror mangas that I personally am drawn to. I kind of like a little bit of variety. I haven't fully immersed myself in the world of like super heavy horror manga. There are quite a bit that my sister has told me to stay away from because she knows I won't like them. She is definitely more so the horror manga reader than I am. I'm more of an action kind of girl, but this is what I have. If any of these caught your eye, please let me know down in the comments. I would love to hear what sounds interesting to you. If you have read them, I would love to hear your opinions on them, and if you enjoyed them just as much as I did. So until next time, bye!